All right. So Carney went to the Washington, D.C., went into the Oval Office and met with Trump face to face for the first time. And it was something. Don't quite know what something it was, but it was something. um, so Carney was apparently like a little bit late, but I think it was because Trump was late and they can't show up until Trump shows up. So, anyways, he arrived. Trump shook his hand. He didn't seem to try and do that like pull-in move that he does. It's like, the alpha male bit. Um, I don't know what was on with his like Trump wears makeup, guys. Like it's obvious. He wears makeup, but like from like here down, it was like the makeup wasn't to his hairline. It was really weird looking today. I don't know what it is, but whoever does his makeup like fails really badly some days. Anyway, so they went in, they sat down in the Oval Office. Carney had Dominic LeBlanc with him. He had Melanie Jolie. Trump had J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio, and then there was a swarm of friggin' reporters. And Donald Trump was respectful at first. He, referred to him as Prime Minister Carney. He congratulated him on his win, but of course he had to throw some negs in there about the fact that, well, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have won. I was really good for you. And it's like, Donald, that's not a good thing. People don't want Canada to turn into the U.S. right now under your rule. That's why we voted in large droves against Polyev. So I don't know why he was acting like, Carney's lucky that he's around. It's not a good thing, Donald. It's not good for you anyway. And then he made a snide remark about how the Liberal Party was like massively down. And then said it was the greatest comeback ever that he's seen in politics, next to Trump's return. And that's when Trump started to babble about the White House and the Oval Office new decorations. And then he was talking about the Houthis and how they've like said that they're not going to attack the U.S. ships anymore in the Red Sea, which apparently after that little bit, the Houthis actually denied that and said they never agreed to that and that Donald Trump is misinformed. And then Mark Carney sort of, played to Trump's ego, talked about him being very transformative to the economy. Not really getting at what he meant by transformative, but I think we all know what he means. Sorry, I'm still so sick. And of course, at some point, and Carney, praised Trump and that sort of thing. Like I said, playing to his ego. Said that, they thank you for the invite, and he hopes that, they're going to work together to create a better partnership. Carney made sure that he talked about the fact that they're going to be investing all of this money into military. Because, of course, at one point, Trump had to go on about, how they're giving free military to us and went on about the stupid $200 billion subsidy that he thinks he's giving Canada. Like, during all of the press questions, Trump just decided to rant again about Canada, a bunch of misinformation about the subsidy stuff and the military. And, of course, somebody brought up the 51st state, which he had to go on about that. And Carney made it perfectly clear to him that, like, Canada does not want to be the 51st state. Like, and he said it. He's talked to the owners of Canada, the citizens of Canada. And we don't want to be the 51st state. Of course, Trump, never say never. And, but no, we can say never because it's not going to happen. But overall, I think Carney did a very good job. With Donald Trump, he is delusional. He's got these things in his head that he believes are facts, whether they're true or not, or he knows that they're not true or not, but he is saying them as if they are a fact. You cannot sit there and argue with him. Look what happens to Zelensky when he pushed back too hard. You set Trump off, you make him look like an idiot, he doesn't like that. Doesn't bode well for Canada. Carney was very good, though, at making it clear in a polite way, but a stern way. Canada's not for sale. That we're not going to be part of we're not going to be the 51st state. He also made it to talk about the fentanyl, which has been a point that, Trump keeps bringing up, even though it's not a big of a deal as what Trump makes it. But he talked about fentanyl. He talked about the fact that we're stepping up our military spending, which is another thing that Donald Trump has been honest about, because he thinks NATO's not, other NATO countries are not holding up their end. So he made sure to make some valid points of the things that Trump has been complaining about. In terms of all the other stuff about the tariffs and everything else, it wasn't the time to push back. You're in front of a bunch of press. You can't start trying to make trade negotiations right there and then. Not when you're about to go behind closed doors and do that, right? So Carney played it well. He played it diplomatically. He was stern. Some of the faces he made were just like, oh my God. Because, we all know that Trump is just ridiculous, right? So it's one of those cases where you just have to suck it up, right? You can't be combative. You can be stern in certain points on the things that you need to push back on, like the 51st state thing. You have to be clear about that, right? They talked about the Kuzma deal. And it was good that Carney said, hey, you've been taking advantage of it in certain points, right? Because Trump he's not been holding up his end of those deals. But all these tariffs and stuff, they're technically illegal in terms of that deal, which is why they've been trying to get the courts involved. Now, as I'm recording this, Carney has just come back from having his chat with Donald, so I will do an update on that. But for now, for the meeting that was in front of everybody, I think it was well handled. And I also seen a lot of Americans commenting and saying that they were really embarrassed to be American and that Trump is their president, and kind of felt like watching Carney, it was like, why can't we have somebody like that? Why can't we have someone who is, respectful and diplomatic and knows what they're talking about? And so that made me feel really good as a Canadian to see people talking about that. Again, I feel bad for the Americans out there that didn't vote for Donald Trump, didn't want Donald Trump. Hell, even if you did vote for him and you don't want him now, I kind of feel a little bit bad for you guys. But overall, really good. Oh, and a final note. Donald Trump taking pot shots still at Trudeau. I'm glad that Carney didn't take the bait and just let it go. You're not here to defend Trudeau. And then what was... Apparently he doesn't like Chrystia Freeland, which she's still on his cabinet. That was a little mean. But at least she's not having to deal with Trump directly anymore. So, but yeah, Trump just doesn't like strong women, right? Poor Chrystia. But yeah, I'm proud. As a Canadian right now, I'm very proud that Mark Carney was the one representing us, because I don't think Pierre Poilievre would have held his ground as well. I think he wouldn't have been able to manage Trump and be stern but diplomatic at the same time. Trump's difficult to deal with, and something tells me that Carney is used to dealing with pompous assholes like Trump from all of his years in finance. So he is the man to deal with somebody like Trump.